Hey everyone, this is Kick Vella. Hope you're doing well. And just there's a topic that I've really been wanting to talk about for a while, and it's about a disturbing truth that's been right in front of our faces for many years. It's in almost everything that you view, whether it's online or on television, cable, pretty much everything. And in my opinion, it's very dangerous. I think I became aware of this probably a few years back, and at the time it really threw me. I was very surprised and taken off guard because I consider myself pretty sharp and I don't miss too much. But even after the initial shock wore off and I realized that this was happening, whenever I tried to explain it to someone, like speak to a friend on it or anyone, I would get a side look or I was told that I'm crazy. People would kind of laugh it off or say that's interesting, but no one ever investigated it. So now, a few years past that, I've noticed that channels and discussions and forums about this topic are much more prevalent, at least on places like Twitter and TikTok. People are definitely waking up to what's happening around them and what has been purported as truth when really it's a big facade and it's dangerous to children and adults, and it fools people into thinking that this is the globally accepted version of what's normal. To me, it is not normal by any stretch. I personally see no problem with anyone of sound mind and old enough to decide for themselves what they will do to their bodies, whether it's tattoos or piercings or transforming into the opposite sex or being a furry. I just saw a story about a guy. A guy was hell-bent on transforming into a certain type of dog, and now he looks like that kind of dog. So good for him. If you want to be a combination of human and dog, great. If you want to be a combination of both sexes, that's really your choice. I have no say in the matter. I don't have an opinion on it if you are an adult. But what I absolutely take huge issue with is the inversion of our children who are way too young to decide for themselves what is appropriate and what they might regret in the future. And this may seem surprising to you, but I've discovered that on almost every major television show, mainstream movie, or even large YouTube channels that have a large subscriber count, virtually every single one of them features main characters that have all been transgendered from female to male or from male to female. So the idea that so many of them are children would be unfathomable to most discerning people, but you can check it for yourself. Don't take my word for it. So after learning about the mass inversion of adult celebrities in movie, television, print, etc. years ago, I wanted to look into it further. So I did a test. I went onto YouTube and I randomly looked for any children's channel that had a very high subscriber count, maybe like 1 million or more. I found some slightly lesser known YouTube channels for children with large followings that were often hosted by a young person with pretty predictable content like, sleepover parties, dance groups, family time, and other topical activities that most kids would probably like. In the first one, right away, I saw that all the main characters on the show, which were 5 little girls, were actually little boys, dressed like girls and presented as girls. There was no indication otherwise that this was a transgendered group or channel. I looked for another children's show, same thing. I then saw a children's Disney series pop up, same thing, a group of young, energetic kids, girls, dancing and singing with their friends, doing what little kids do, except that once more, they were all little boys presenting as girls. And another thing that I noticed on one of the Disney shows was a pretty clear and blatant constant referencing to Satanism. One of the parents was innocently dressed as Baphomet in one of the scenes, and she had these huge horns in her head, and also the constant referencing to well-known satanic symbols, and the list just went on and on. I think it's no secret to many of us that the practice of Satanism and the inversion of males to females and vice versa is a prominent feature in elite culture, as it stems from their primary religion and their bloodline being satanic. The Baphomet, being the deity that's worshipped by occult religions, is the one who has both male and female characteristics. And you'd be highly challenged to find a high-level person on the global stage who doesn't have gender inversion in their family. I also realized that this extends to reality television and sports and politics and everything else you can possibly imagine. We're so used to seeing it that it's really easy to miss because it's right in front of us, and it always has been. Until you begin to learn about this and you begin to really study anatomy a little bit closer and the skeletal system, which doesn't lie, and the extent of this doesn't seem to end either. So I thought I would show you a few of the random kids shows that I just found randomly on YouTube to help illustrate my point. And not only are the majority of these shows featuring secretly transgendered kids, but in many of the shows, there is an undercurrent of sexual exploitation, which I'll also highlight. If you're a parent or you care anything about what children are seeing as the baseline for normalcy in their gender, whether it's subliminal or not, you, like me, would be outraged that this is the only thing being offered up on the global stage. Why not just say these are transgendered kids, or politicians, or sports figures, or actors and actresses? Well, the likely answer is that they never intended for us to know. So this first one is a show with 23 million subscribers called 5 Kids, Rich Princess vs. Broke Princess. And look, there's no disputing that these are adorable kids. But that's really not the point, right? So my question would be, why are you presenting a children's show with not one biological female in a show that's strictly about princesses? It just makes no sense to me. And if it was just a one-off, it was one show here or there, I could understand it. But this is blatantly everywhere. So anywhere you look, and this show, I believe, was made outside of the U.S. Anywhere you look, in any country, you're going to see this. So my question is why? None of these kids appear to me as females. So it is what it is. I would love to know why this is such a big secret. Are you kidding me? I grew up with 5 brothers, and I consider myself pretty astute. I can spot a little boy when I see one, and I think most of us can. So what in the hell is going on? I have a couple of guesses, but I'll continue. So in this show, we have another princess show in a restaurant. Apparently 633 million views. And again, what do you see? I'll tell you what I see. I see a little boy that has been either transgendered to be a little girl or has been dressed up to look like one. Again, why? In a show about a princess, why are we doing this? The fact that it's a secret would be deceptive, right? Why not just come out and say the truth? That these are little boys dressed up as little girls. When you really start to see the scope of this and how absolutely huge it is, it's staggering. And you have to wonder if there's a reason for it. Why wouldn't you want little girls to see other little girls? Okay, well, cue the Satanics. Here come Diana and Roma playing at their favorite children's museums with 237 million views. Again, tell me what you see. I don't think I really have to say much. You can see for yourself. Very cute kid, by the way. But also not a female. And I believe this was another of the shows that was made outside of the US, but the result is still the same. You have, shows about little girls featuring only little boys, not a female to be found in any of the shows that I found that couple of days where I just randomly clicked on children's shows, and this being one of them. I was going to say, come on, who are they fooling? But they're fooling everybody, apparently, because you don't really hear about this. And I think if parents really knew what their kids were watching, they would be an outrage. So thank you very much to our third princess, who actually looks like one of my brothers when we were younger, incidentally. And then there's Nastya, shows that knowledge at school is the most important thing, with 412 million views. And already we're off to a pretty rocky start. And most kids aren't really great at keeping secrets, but yet all of these children seem to, which is mind-blowing to me. And the inversion seems to be the one thread that binds all of these shows together. Looks pretty happy, right? Actually, it really breaks my little heart. You see it over and over and over, and I wonder if you were to ask this child, what would you prefer to be doing? Would this be it? Nothing wrong with little boys playing princess, as long as it's by choice. So, thank you, Nastya and friend. And this is Baby Kaylee, 10-year-old kid rapper, covering Ew by Jimmy Fallon and will.i.am. I mean, it's ridiculous. This looks like a normal little boy to me. I mean, and a lot of people really don't believe this, and that's okay. I'm just here to suggest otherwise, with proof. And, let's say that I'm entirely wrong, that all of this is just one big misunderstanding. I'm not the only person covering this type of thing. There are so many channels and forums and Twitter pages and TikToks about this very topic. And just one after another, they fail the litmus test of what it is to be one gender or another. So, something to think about, right? And then there's Jojo Siwa, I don't even know if I can say her name right, with large view count, pretty popular, very good dancer, entertaining enough. But recently, I think she came out as lesbian recently, or is she? But her and some of her dancing friends are suspect to me. Again, this is my opinion. Look at that one. Very male looking. And growing up with some athletic friends and growing up as a dancer with many other young girls, none of us ever had legs like her friend on the right there. It just didn't happen. Never once saw that. Maybe on the boy dancers we did, but not for the females. And so these next few stories are under the Ultimate Parenting Guide. They have parenting hacks, making it easier with your child. I have a lot to say about her, but that's another video. So again, just more of the same in this particular story. Just more of the obvious. That kid's shirt, though, I mean, I'm not even going to comment. It's very topical. This show I kind of had a problem with. I just thought it was so inappropriate in so many ways. And I don't even think this is a child. I think this is like a growing, maybe young adult. And okay, cut. This dude's trachea is taking up the entire frame. I don't know, is this necessary for a children's show? They really went overboard on this scene, by the way. Really now. And what a nice square jaw. Not okay. And then more undertones of exploitation, in my opinion. She spills ice cream on her lap, and this is the angle that they're shooting, which I think is entirely inappropriate. I can't believe nobody thought of this. They thought they were being subtle, maybe, but her mom comes up with this ingenious solution I mean, look at this. Is that nobody on the team thought that this was maybe not the thing to be putting on a kid's show? I don't know. It'd be one thing if it was just one thing, but it's just over and over. This same type of thing. And this is the mom, if you can believe. But this scene, aside from the white rabbit, which is another video altogether, this scene just really did it for me. I was flabbergasted. So this little girl is hanging out with her dad, and they're putting stickers on her, and of course at some point she wants to take them off, but she can't really get them off without being in pain. So her dad's trying to help, and then he comes up with, an ingenious idea, and he goes off screen and goes into the mom's purse, and this is what he pulls out: a little jar of Vaseline. And he says, "What about Vaseline?" I mean, my jaw dropped. And then of course they zoom in on it, and then not only that, he has to show him taking it out. I mean, is this not ridiculous? I was speechless. I mean, I still kind of am. But of course, that seems to work, and they get the stickers off, and it's good times again. And like I said, this is one person's opinion. This is one person's input. It doesn't make me the authority on everything regarding this topic, but I think it's at least worth a second look. And if you're so inclined, look into it on your own time, see what you come up with, and I'll see you on the next one.